Hello again for the next session at Pharmacircuit. So for this one, we are very happy to present Bhavesh Agarwal. He will be speaking on the need of lean, agile, and smart pharmaceutical manufacturing to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. So I think he, of course, for his more than 15 years of background in sterile drug formulations, biologics manufacturing, plasma proteins manufacturing, he has a vast knowledge he can share with us. So a part of that, he has worked a lot in operations management, project management, quality assurance, process development, and in all this to achieve operational excellence. So basically, he is very experienced in the techno-commercial role for setting up sterile drug manufacturing facilities and has a lot of experience to oversee the entire project management in the manufacturing operations and technology transfer from the development stage at R&D lab to commercial manufacturing. So very much looking forward to your presentation, Bhavesh.
It's my privilege that it's my pleasure that I am today in this forum and presenting the topic of a need of lean, agile, and smart pharmaceutical manufacturing to mitigate the impact of COVID. Before starting my presentation, I would like to say that market is very volatile and the customer needs are changing day by day. In the current needs, the customer require the product with high quality, low cost, and fast. To achieve this objective, I had focused on the certain areas, so which I would like to present in front of you. So let's start. Like what I am going to present today as an agenda is that the COVID impact on pharma sector and its mitigation approach, the Lean Six Sigma methodology and its application, the agile practices and its approach in the project management, digitalization in the pharma, and the way forward. As the time is very limited, so it's difficult to cover the detail on each segment. It's about a very detailed subject, the Lean Six Sigma Agile Practices, but I am trying to cover the basic about that, so it give an idea. This is very, very important for today's industry. So as starting with the today first topic, that is COVID impact on the pharma sector's mitigation plan. As all of you know that COVID has impacted widely and all the industry directly or indirectly, and disrupted the entire business across the world. Same way, the pharmaceutical business got also impacted largely in the manufacturing operations and has faced a lot of challenges in the certain areas. So I had mentioned here some of the areas where these challenges the companies has faced. The entire supply chain got disrupted during the lockdown period. There is a shortage of raw material which are import dependent. The manufacturing cost has increased due to the increase in the cost of the raw material and the services. The production schedule got interrupted due to the market demand is very uncertain during the lockdown period, and also the irregularities in the supply of materials. The delays of new product launches got delayed due to regulatory approvals delays and the audits delaying. The inconsistency in manual operation, as pharma companies are very much dependent on the manual operations. So during the lockdown period, there is a fall in the number of skilled people, and in certain areas, the companies face the challenges with the limited manpower to manage the entire operations. So there are certain areas so where the companies has faced the challenges. To overcome these challenges now and in future, we have to focus on certain areas. All the organization need to focus on manufacturing cost reduction, inventory optimization, right utilization of resources, faster delivery of product to the market, less dependency on manual operations, making distribution effective and traceable, being adaptable to changes in the uncertainty based on the market demand. To achieve this objective, the organization need to be shifted from traditional manufacturing to the smart manufacturing. And this objective, the organization can be achieved by focusing on the three areas, which is people, processes, and systems. In this VUCA world, people need to be more agile and adaptable to the changes based on the market demand and customer needs. The customer needs are changing frequently, and to meet the customer need, the processes need to be streamlined and optimized using the Lean Six Sigma approach, and the system need to be digitalized with the entire value chain. So I can say the entire system can be of the pharmaceutical has to be transformed from the traditional to the smart manufacturing. As if you say in current scenario, many companies has already started their journey of transformation, but only the big players had already started and they are doing pretty good. But the most of the pharmaceutical companies still following the old traditional practices since they are controlled by the stringent regulation and CGMP norms. So changing the SOPs, system processes required them to undergo the validation and a lot of regulatory approvals. So I've seen many companies are reluctant for changing and transforming from the traditional practices to the updated practices. But now the time has came. Now the companies has to look for the future transition. So to sustain the business for longer run. So in order to achieve their objective, they have to follow a certain approach that is a Lean Six Sigma approach. And now I am going to the topic of Lean Six Sigma approach and their application, which is very, very important for the purpose of achieving the streamlining and efficiency in the production. The Lean Sigma is the combination of Lean plus Six Sigma. Lean is a set of principles, tools, and techniques that is used to identify the waste, eliminate the waste, and improve the efficiency of production. Six Sigma is a data-driven philosophy used to eliminate defects and process variation, thereby improve the quality of product. When this both methodology combines together, it will improve the overall efficiency of the process as well as quality of the products. It helps the organization to achieve their mission and satisfy the customer. So going deeper into the Lean Sigma manufacturing processes is generally categorized into three activities. If I say enter value chain from the supplier to the till the customer, the in lean manufacturing, the value stream mapping has to be done, and each activity categorized into the three classes, that is value added activity, non-value added activity, and the business development activity. The value added activities are those activities which add value to the customer and the product. Non-value added activities are which doesn't add any value to the product, and the business value added activity are those activities which doesn't add any value to the product but which is very important from the business point of view. It is important from the regulatory perspectives or CGMP compliances which need to be have in the process. So any process need to be categorized into the three categories, and we have to identify the non-value added activities. These non-value added activities are considered as waste. There are 8 types of waste identified in the lean process, which is also called as clean woods. First waste is waste of transportation, then the waste of excessive inventory. If there is excess of inventory in the operations, then it requires additional space of storage and cost to the company. So that is a type of waste. Then the waste of unnecessary motion, unnecessary movement of man and material within the area also lead to the waste. Then the waste of waiting, the downtime of the machine cause the operator to wait for the operation. It's also considered the waste. Overproduction, production of the goods more than the demand create additional space for the storage and lead to the waste. Just a moment. Sorry. Waste of overprocessing. The waste of overprocessing, the additional step in the processes which do not add any value to the customer, also considered as the waste. The waste of defects. There are defects in the processes lead to additional handling and extra efforts required for or handling these issues also consider the waste. Then the waste of unutilized talent, underutilization of the skilled people also consider the waste. So these are the different waste which has to be eliminated from the processes to make the processes lean process. Now coming to the next slide, where I discuss about the Lean Six Sigma tools and techniques. In Lean, there are various tools like value stream mapping, total productive maintenance, 5 A's, Kanban, Kaizen, mistake proofing, time analysis, visual management, just in time. In Six Sigma, there are the fishbone analysis, fault tree analysis, process capability analysis, SPC, hypothesis analysis, DOE, and avoid control charts, regression correlation analysis. And some of the tools are common for Lean and Sigma like CPOC, process mapping, 5 Whys, Pareto chart, control chart, scatter diagram, histogram. This each topic required detail, but as the time is limited, I had just explained the application of this tool in the next slide and also explain the implementation strategy of Lean Sigma in the processes. Now coming to the next slide, the Lean Sigma implementation. To implement the Lean Sigma in any process, the DMAIC methodology can be adopted. The DMAIC methodology consists of 5 phases: define, measure, analysis, improve, and control phase. In the define phase, the problem statement, goal statement, and scope is defined into the project charter. High level of process map is created. Customer needs will be identified based on the process and the quality parameters, and the financials will be estimated. The tools used here are project charter, voice of customer, CTQ tree, CPOC diagram, supply input process output control diagram, and value stream mapping. Just a minute. Now coming to the next phase, that is a major phase. In the major phase, the current performance of the process is determined. The data will be collected and analyzed. Determine process capabilities, and the entire process will be mapped. And the gaps also identified with the non-value added activities. The tools used here are process mapping, spaghetti diagram, process capability, Pareto chart, FMEA, MSC, tech techniques. Now coming to the third phase, that is analyze phase. In the analyze phase, the identified gaps, non-value added activities will be analyzed in detail, and the causes for the defects or variations or the non-value added activity will be identified, and that root cause will be identified using the different tools. The impact assessment will be performed to identify that if this particular step will be removed, so what impact will become on the process. So these all things will be covered in the analysis. Tools used here are fishbone analysis, 5Y, system level impact assessment, fault tree analysis, histogram, scatter diagram, multivariate charts. Now coming to the next phase, that is improve phase. In improve phase, based on the identified causes, the solution will be generated, and solution will be prioritized. Right solution will be selected and implemented into the system. If the non-value added activity which is identified in the analyze phase and major phase will be eliminated from the process based on the impact assessment in the improve. This phase is important from the implementation point of view. The tools used here are Kanban, Kaizen, standard work, 5 Whys, total productive maintenance, DOE, regression, correlation. In the control phase, the last phase, in this phase, generally the implemented step or the solution will be checked for its effectiveness, and the process will be ensured for that it is in a control stage. The monitoring process will be developed, and the training and documentation will be done. The tools used here are SPCs, control charts, checklist, audit, Gemba walk, visual management, board, mistake proofing, quality control plans. So this is a general idea about any process which for process or project to be going through the Lean Sigma approach. This methodology can be adopted. It can be applicable for having any quality improvement project or process improvement project or the cost reduction project, this method can be easily adopted and the tools can be utilized. When this Lean Sigma is implemented to the process, it provides following benefits. Lean Sigma reduces setup time and process cycle time. It minimizes the inventories. It eliminates the non-value added activities which we had already considered waste. It enhances the batch yield, improves the quality of product, reduces the overall operating cost, simplifies the process, and enhances the worker efficiency. So now coming to the next topic, which is agile practices and approach in the project management. In agile practices, agile is considered as a mindset, a set of beliefs, principle, and way of thinking. Agile describes the agility of an organization and its process to adapt to changes. An agile mindset responds to the changes in uncertain and a turbulent environment. Pharmaceutical companies are adopting agile practices to accelerate innovations, shorten time to market, lower the developmental cost, and increase the overall efficiency. Today's expectation is to adapt to changes based on consumer, technology, or business demands. So, agile is important in the current organization to adopt the customer centric approach. Generally, in the project management, the waterfall models are used, but as the software companies are using the agile model, and this model is very related to the customer centric approach, which can be applied in the other projects also. Like waterfall model is a traditional model, it's a sequential. But here I had described and compared both the models. The waterfall model is sequential model, whereas agile model is concurrent dynamic nature. Waterfall model is rigid and linear. It only moves to the next phase of development or testing if the previous steps completed successfully. Agile model is a flexible. It moves to previous step if needed based on the customer feedback. Waterfall model does not have any scope of changes in the requirement once the project development starts. Whereas agile model allows changes in the requirement at after this any stage of the project. So this flexibility you will get in the agile model approach in the project management. Delivery risk in the waterfall model is relatively high since customer receive one-time delivery only at the development cycle. In contrast, the delivery risk in the agile is low since there will be continuous delivery of a completed task which can be changed if required based on the customer feedback. So that's why agile process handling wise and managing wise is easier than the waterfall process. Now, the same way, the cost of a change in the waterfall model is relatively high, whereas on agile, the changes in the requirement can be incorporated at any point of the process, even in the late in development, and will cost less. So there are a lot of advantages in the agile practices which can be utilized, and following benefits can be get if the company is adopting the agile practices. It initiates the team collaboration, create cross-functional groups, develop the ownership, the workflow, enhance the decision-making process, increase the transparency, create employee engagement, shorten the delivery to the market, and reduce the development cost. So now coming to the next topic of discussion, that is digitalization in the pharma, which is a demand of today's time. Pharma 4.0, smart pharma manufacturing. Pharma 4.0 is the digitalization of the pharmaceutical operation. It combines the physical and digital assets by employing technologies like IoT, machine learning. Pharma 4.0 consists of trends such as big data, interconnectivity, collaborative robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud compounding, simulation, 3D printing, and system integration. In present scenario, many pharmaceutical companies have automated process controls in their manufacturing operations, which tell us what has gone wrong, whereas Pharma 4.0 predicts that what will go wrong, when and how it can be avoided. So that's the advantage of Pharma 4.0, which is the need of today's time. Now we need to focus on predictive maintenance, predictive analysis, rather than the reactive analysis, reactive maintenance. Earlier, the digitalization was considered nice to have in pharmaceutical industry, but now it has become essential part of the system to sustain the business on long term. Now coming to the next slide, Pharma 4.0, its implementation philosophy. The implementation Pharma 4.0 is again a big topic of discussion, but as for general basic discussion, I had provided one slide with the two integration model. In the pharma digitalization, we need to integrate vertically and horizontally to apply all over the digitalization across all the boundaries in the pharmaceutical. First, I talk about the vertical integration. Vertical integration is the digitalization of pharmaceutical operation at all the hierarchical level, from shop floor level to the enterprise level. And the shop floor level sensor actuators, which are linked to the PLC using for the regulation of machines, interconnected SCADA monitoring control system, and SCADA sending the messages, communication to MES connected to the ERP, and the production planning, order management taken care by the ERP. The entire system to digitalize using the AI and IoT, so that so there is a manual intervention will be reduced, real-time data will be generated, and the transparency throughout the process will be increased. Same way in the horizontal integration, the digitalization of has to be adopted end-to-end integration from supplier level to the customer level, where supplier has to be digitalized, supplier platform has to be digitalized, then the development phase, the production phase, the logistic distribution, all phases need to be digitalized so that entire product cycle chain get digitalized, so the data which is generated will be effectively used, the system will be traceable, and real-time data will be monitored. It will be help in the futuristic goals and provide the lot of advantage. Now coming to the benefits of Pharma 4.0. When we implement Pharma system with the digitalization, we can achieve increase in the productivity. As the system got automation, the production time get reduced, the utilization of assets inventory become better, so overall productivity will be increased. The flexibility will be increased using the machines and the robotics. The cycle time of the process will be reduced, so no more number of batches can be taken. So it increases the flexibility. The quality will be increased since using the AI based sensors and actuators, the defects can be identified, problems will be rectified before happening, and the predictive maintenance can be taken care. So it will enhance the quality of the product. Increase the speed. If we say using the automation, the overall speed of the process will be increased. Data will be managed adequately and the faster. So overall speed will also going to increase. So this is the major benefit which we can achieve from the Pharma 4.0. I had explained here some of the example of pharma digitalization with the areas of implementation. Production monitoring and troubleshooting. The manufacturing process got digitalized using the machine learning and IoT. It provides real-time production monitoring with predictive analysis to identify the fault and failure before they occur. Track and trace technologies such as cloud compounding, blockchain, RFID tags, cognitive computing are used in supply chain management to track and trace the product throughout the distribution till consumer end. Data management system, electronic batch record system maintain data security and integrity. Graphic user interface captures and manages the data automatically through the EVRS, batch production management, report generation. Simulation studies. In the simulation, the plant operation is reproduced in the virtual mode to perform the test and minimize the machine programming. This allows for increasing the quality and machine setup time. Autonomous robots can be used in various operations, but where we require to have less human intervention, there the advantage of using the robot is very high. Like aseptic filling operations and material handling, the robotics can be utilized. Now coming to preventive medicine, using of various sensor component valve instrument which are used in manufacturing provides a lot of advantages. When this system got digital IoT and AI will be helped to pass on the signal, help trace it with the unique ID and perform predictive maintenance, thereby reduce the unplanned downtime. So these are the digitalization advantages. Now coming to the very end of the presentation, that is way forward. So what to do as a way forward? These three processes, people, process, and the system, these three key areas to be aligned together and integrated with the three pillars of Agile, Lean Sigma, and Digitalization for transforming the entire business. Organization need to be lean, agile, and digitalized to sustain the order for a long-term period. So I want to end now my presentation with message that continuous improvement is better than the delayed perfection. Thank you so much for attending my presentation. I am always happy to assist you in your continuous improvement journey. You can reach out to me at gabioforma@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bhavesh, for your nice for your nice presentation. Much appreciated. Has been quite interesting. And I think, as all of us know from pharmaceutical manufacturing, that lead times can be a very critical topic in all kind of businesses. They can make go away business opportunities. They can leverage business opportunities. So I think all your presentation shows a lot of ways how to improve manufacturing and how to get better in that. So do you have any tangible example or some experience how to bring down lead time by agile methodologies?
Yeah, lead time of the process can be brought down. For an example, for a certain step, if we are like we are sometimes following the redundant activities in the process in the pharmaceutical based on the all the process. If I say the for an example, the dispensing of the material doing from the warehouse and the material reaching to the production, the material checking done in the warehouse end with the QA, then again the same material will be checked with the weight already checked. For an example, the material which is checked in the warehouse to during the dispensing time about the quantity, about the numbers. Again, when it comes to the production, again the cross checking performed by for the weight and the quantity will be verified again. So these activities will take more time. So this double checking and redundant activity can be removed when we use more level of lean process and digitalized using some of the methodologies. So that what happened, the material when coming to you, it already you know what quantity is coming when you have the digitalized record available. So no need to check again when it comes to your area. Second thing I say, I had recently done one project where we implemented the visual inspection. The vials are visually inspected, and the operators are recording manually on the BMR how many vials are good vials and how many are bad vials. So these records has to be then afterwards somebody has to transfer into the system, and then it will be recorded in the SAP system. So what we had done, we had developed one app using the software team, and they will using now tablet and directly recording the instead of recording in the manually, they record the details in the tab itself, and that data directly feed into the SAP. So they no need to do the duplicity of that work. So like that, many ways we can reduce the operations, which is unnecessary extra operation, which I think the non-value-added activities.
Another question related to cost. So I can imagine that improving these processes and making them lean and agile also adds a lot of cost advantage whilst increasing the quality. As we all know from generic manufacturing, cost is a very substantial factor in everything. So I can imagine there's also a lot of impact coming from this.
Right, you rightly said. There's a lot of cost advantage will come out of it. And what I said, like if many pharmaceutical companies are still not adopting because they are reluctant to do the changes, and a lot of validation and regulatory approvals required in many of these processes, they still thought. But if I say I had done 2-3 lean projects where we identify the activity which have minimal impact on the validation. So that type of activity can be identified and can be addressed faster, so that cycle time will be reduced and more number of batches can be taken in that particular period, so that overall operating cost will be brought down.
Thank you. So thank you, Bhavesh, very much for the nice presentation, very insightful. So thanks for joining Pharmacircuit, and we'll definitely be looking forward to connecting the networking, and of course also if there's further questions from the audience, please ask so and connect with Bhavesh via his email or LinkedIn as indicated. So having said this, we will be coming to the closing notes of today's session just in a minute, and we will be connecting back then in about 2 minutes for that. So see you. Goodbye.
See you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bhavesh.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you so much, everyone.